Krishna. I lead marketing here at MyParichay. And I'd like to welcome you to this fifth webinar from a series of webinars and workshops brought to you by MyParichay in partnership with hdmediashine.com. These webinars are on social media and social recruitment. Both these companies, MyParichay and hdmediashine.com, are leading the social hiring revolution here in India, and by delivering the most effective and innovative technologies in this space. Part of the HD Media Group, Shine.com, is India's first social job portal and the fastest growing recruitment portal. I hope you are enjoying the Student God Ho campaign that you perhaps would have seen on television, and you can always go up to YouTube and look for that campaign as well. I would encourage you to actually visit Shine.com after this webinar and to actually in particular experience how each job today is now powered by MyParichay, allowing every candidate on Shine.com to basically become a source of quality reference for you too. MyParichay is actually a group of dedicated, successful entrepreneurs, HR professionals, and computer scientists, and we want to capture the spirit behind a Parichay, an introduction from a known person to transform how people achieve their career potential and how companies find the best quality talent. So today's workshop is on Social ATS and why it's time for you to consider dumping your old applicant tracking system. On this webinar, we'll discuss social recruitment facts and trends from recent research by MyParichay. We have research from LinkedIn and from insights from what Carnegie Independent has to say on social hiring. We also want to look at, we'll share with you what to look for in a social ATS technology, and ensure you are buying the best and will not be obsolete technologically very soon. In fact, we also have a comparison document that compares some of the lead young applicant tracking technologies today. And if you want a copy of it, you can always write to me at gurur@myparichay.in. You have my email address with you. So without further delay, let me introduce you to our speakers for this session, Ranjan Sinha. Ranjan is the chairman of MyParichay and Summit Aircraft. Just before we begin, I'd like to advise the audience to please use the chat box available on the webinar dashboard to post your questions. And we will take these questions towards the end of the webinar. And in the meanwhile, I'll also run a few polls. We basically would like to understand you better and what you guys do at your organization. So to take time to answer these questions. So without further delay, Ranjan, I'll hand it over to you. Right. Ranjan? Ranjan, can you hear us? We're unable to hear you. Bear with me a second.
The person you have called has put you on hold. You can wait or call again later. ನೀವು ಕರೆ ಮಾಡಿದ ಚಂದಾದಾರರು ನಿಮ್ಮ The person
Hello? Hey Ranjan, can you hear us? Bear with us for a few seconds, folks. I guess we lost Ranjan. Let me quickly get him into this. Right?
The person you have called has put you on hold. You can wait or call again. ನೀವು ಕರೆ ಚಂದವನ್ನು ಇರಿಸಿ ಅಥವಾ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸಮಯದ ನಂತರ ಕರೆ ಮಾಡಿ.
Ranjan? Yeah, can you hear me? Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead. Okay, great. Good morning. As Guru mentioned, in the next 25 minutes, what I'd like to do is share with you some recent facts and trends that we see among corporate buyers, both in India and outside of India. And the title of the webinar is perhaps a little aggressive in terms of whether you should give us your old ATS or not. My goal here is to really share with you what the current state of technology is in terms of applicant tracking systems. In fact, I think just the word applicant tracking itself is probably obsolete, because where the current technology is and where corporate buyers are seeing where the focus should be, it's really more than just tracking your applicant. It's about how do you build a much more effective relationship with your talent community, candidates, and especially with the emergence of social technologies and mobile technology and the rate at which they're changing. I think the applicant tracking is probably an incomplete definition of what you need in terms of a good, high-quality recruitment and hiring platform. So here is recent research that LinkedIn conducted around the world, and there were over 3,000 talent acquisition leaders, and about almost 400 of them were from India. And when they were asked what's the most important trend shaping the future of recruitment, I think it's not surprising it's social professional networks are having an increasing impact, especially on the quality of hire. And I think all of us recognize there is one thing is to get resumes. The other is how do you really find the right people, and just getting a lot of resumes necessarily does not actually make the process more efficient. And historically, a lot of applicant tracking systems were designed to really deal with tons of resumes going in with really no control on the quality, etc. And it was really a way to deal with a workflow aspect versus how do you build a system that builds a better connection with the candidates and the talent, and then effectively brings them through the process that you need to manage. So professional and social networks like Facebook, professional networks like LinkedIn are making a big difference in that area. The second is employer branding. And this becomes even more important as today the ability to attract candidates not just depends on running a newspaper ad or a television ad. It really gets driven by what other people are saying about your company, whether it is on a site like Glassdoor or Payscale or on different Facebook groups. So I think the ability to manage that and the need to manage it needs to be a part of the technology platform that you have. Given now there is so much data, every rupee that you spend on employer branding or on your effort, today the current state of technology allows you to track the effectiveness of it, down to literally how many people have applied for every ad that you ran. And then companies are investing more on hiring internally and obviously managing attrition. And the last part that is going to even transform the technology requirements dramatically is people are now accessing internet more and more on their mobile device. So how making sure your applicant tracking system, or probably a better word is your current hiring and sourcing technology platform allows the recruiter, the hiring manager, the candidate, and the prospective candidate, or your own employees, which is a very big, can be a big pool, a big source of candidate, can effectively operate this technology through their mobile device, whether it's a phone or an iPad. So when these leaders are asked, are most focused on improving what is the most important thing in their top priorities for this coming year. Interestingly, improving quality of hire and recruiting, improving employee referral, at least for the Indian managers, was distinctly higher than their global counterparts. And I think it has to do with the fact that one is to get a lot of resumes, but the other is to, rather than just adding a lot of resources to process a lot of resumes, the focus really needs to be how do you improve the quality of the candidate pool coming in. And I think managers around the world recognize that your biggest source of quality candidates comes from your employees, because these are the folks that deliver what the vision and the plan of the company is. They probably have the right background, the right aptitude, the right attitude, and so they probably in their peer group, whether it's on LinkedIn or Facebook, have more candidates like those, and the ability to them to be a much more integral part of your candidate sourcing is essential. And fundamentally, referrals with the new set of technology will become more and more almost a required way to get good quality candidates. And the delta that you see on point number 3 between India and the rest of the world partly may be driven by the fact that around the rest of the world, at least in the more countries where technology is more widely adopted, employee referral program is already the number one source, and most of the time companies go to extreme lengths to leverage their employees. In fact, alumni base, etc. We are recently working with a major corporation that not only wants to leverage employee referral, but they want to make sure that their alumni participate. But more importantly, the third leg of the referral framework, they have a lot of candidates that get towards the tail end of the recruitment funnel. And they wanted us to deliver a platform that will allow them to tap into the network of those candidates. Because the fact they got to the tail end of the recruitment process means that they are obviously good quality candidates. For various reasons, they got dropped off at the last part of the process, or they decided not to join the company. The company didn't want to lose all that effort that went in. So fundamentally, a good technology that focuses on recruitment and sourcing and candidate management needs to have referral as a very central part of its design philosophy. Now, I think about 2 years ago or 3 years ago when we talked about social and professional networks and its impact on shaping recruitment, people weren't sure if this is a flash in the pan. Now, if you look at the investments that companies are making in this area, and if you look at the leaders around the world, think that this is by far the single biggest phenomena that is going to shape recruitment in the long term. And then, not surprisingly, right below that is employer branding, because employer branding no longer is about running big newspaper ads and TV ads. It really gets down to an individual level, and the power of Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter does make a big difference. And up till now, really, there are very few technology platforms that allow you to manage this. Normally, you run a TV ad or a newspaper ad. Now, a good applicant tracking system needs to have employer branding as a very key component of its capability. And again, the next part is boosting referral programs. And as you can see, if you deep dive into this study, it doesn't really just talk about employer referral, it really talks about referral on a much more extended basis. And those things are going to make our key trends that are shaping recruitment. And so your technology platform needs to be designed around them. And if your technology platform does not address those,
it probably is obsolete, or if you're looking for a new one, should be looking at technology platforms that make those as the central part. And the good news is that most of the older technology platforms tended to be more expensive. You required a lot of infrastructure, servers, etc. Modern social ATS, as I call them, are relatively easy to deploy, set up. Most of them are delivered on what is called software as a service model. You literally could swipe a credit card and be up and running with one of those platforms. Top 10 places to find quality hires. Again, not surprising. The biggest uptick is in social professional networks, about a 20% difference, and then employer referral programs. So again, not surprising. If you are looking for quality hires, it's essential your technology platform is around social professional networks and referrals, which is fundamentally kind of tightly coupled. Again, as mentioned, employer branding is again a very critical part. It used to be kind of a secondary, or it used to be an important component, but never a part of the technology platform. Today, employer branding needs to be a part of the technology platform. And then finally, most effective ways to manage your employer brand. Again, not surprising, the two biggest upticks are LinkedIn and Facebook. So if you look at about 11% uptick, social media about 11% uptick. And that fundamentally, again, has to be a key part of your technology decision. And so if you are looking at pure workflow-based systems, they would be inadequate to deal with the next 5 years of evolution and probably new technologies after that. And today, most social ATS pretty much have parity with the old traditional ATSs in terms of workflow. In fact, and so what most social ATSs like Jobvite or MyParichay or Work for Labs have, they pretty much have most of this workflow capacity and capabilities. It's really more of the mobile and social technologies and referral technologies that make it more compelling. And the last part of mobile is picking up. I think that's not a surprise to anyone. We all access our internet, our emails, our communication so much on it. I'm going to fast forward through some of these slides. I think it's no surprise that we know Facebook has far more profiles, and this is not a debate between LinkedIn or Facebook. It's really about the fact that there is a large group of talent that is not on LinkedIn, that is not on Naukri or any of the job boards. And so your strategy and your technology platform needs to make sure that it interoperates with Facebook, with LinkedIn, with job boards, whether social job boards like Shine or free job boards like Indeed.com. It's important that they all your technology platform operates with that. 85% of the job seekers are on Facebook, and 60% are only on Facebook. And this was a recent survey that was done in partnership with HD Media and MyParichay, about 100,000 candidates across age groups, vertical industry, geography in India. Again, here, just to give you a sense that your technology platform has to look at Facebook and LinkedIn, because that's where most of the traffic is, that's where most of your candidates are. And as you can see from the ranking, in India today, Facebook and LinkedIn by far get more candidate people traffic than any of the job boards. So this is, again, one slide from the study that Carnegie Mellon did about people looking to find jobs. And again, not surprisingly, most people felt, based on their history, they are about 5 times more likely to help a person who are close family and friends. So you need to make sure that your technology platform takes advantage of that connection and is able to tap into that connection. And so your employees basically are connected to, on an average, somewhere between 150 to 200 professionals with very similar domain backgrounds, educational backgrounds on their Facebook, and probably a smaller number on their LinkedIn. And the key is the technology platform should be able to pull out the professional power that is embedded in the Facebook along with LinkedIn to deliver you the best value. So let me, Social ATS is a lot more. It's really not about, a lot of these workflow things that you hear traditional ATSs talk about. Those are all there in a modern generation ATS, resume parsing, searching existing openings, publishing requirements to vendor, automatically checking for duplication. These are all relatively now baseline capabilities. What's really needed is a technology platform that, number one, focuses on the candidate experience. Because candidates today have immense amount of distraction, and you need to make sure the candidates who are spending most of the time most likely on Facebook, you're able to reach them there, you're able to reach them on LinkedIn, and give them an experience that is not disruptive. It gives them an experience that they enjoy. If they have to have a good feeling, especially the high-quality candidates, if they have to have a good feeling about your organization, about the recruiter. It is all about referrals. Whether it is your employees referring, how do you make it easier, how do you motivate them? It is about making sure if your job is posted on a job board, and you see that example on shine.com, that every candidate who's coming there not only should feel more connected to your company, because when they look at a job, they go, oh, I have 3 of my friends working here, or 6 of my LinkedIn connections working here, and feel more connected to your organization, get a sense of your organization. At the same time, they should be able to refer, and there should be some incentive for them to refer. So it's not just employee referrals. Wherever your jobs are being seen, I think you should, your technology should empower people to refer candidates back to you, and obviously having the right filters and mechanisms to make sure you're not getting junk profiles. The next part is employee motivation. A good technology platform in this space should make sure employees are adequately motivated to refer, adequately incentive, and they are well communicated about what's happening to their candidates. The next part is for the recruiter to make a connection with the candidate. So today, it's not just sending an email blast and looking and expecting to feel connected to the candidate. The use of social technologies like LinkedIn and Facebook should be there in your platform that allows the recruiter to feel more connected. The ability to reach out to a candidate and saying, I know you're friends with XYZ, or I know you know this person. Or to be able to say, 2 of your friends work with us, I'm reaching out to you. Or being able to, it may be a little stalking or creepy, but the ability to even go to their Facebook profile and see who they are, and perhaps make a better connection, or maybe understand culturally if that would be a fit. So again, the technology platform should allow the recruiter to make that connection with the candidate, which again is a very essential part when you're trying to improve your quality of hire and you're trying to reduce drop-offs and people not accepting offers, not starting, etc. Facebook today has around the world 1 million people, and I think all of us know it's the largest source of finding people, and almost 60-70% now are adding at least their basic employer information, basic job titles. And so the platform should allow you, this technology platform, to search not just your ATS for all the resumes that have come in, but seamlessly be able to search connect send them a message on Facebook, which again, based on some data we have for some of the companies that are using these platforms, if you send an email, your average response rate is maybe somewhere from 0.5% to maybe 4 or 5%. So servers require you to complex setup. Modern social ATS really is as simple as you getting an email with a user ID password, and you really should be able to set up your entire company branch, with your employees online, and should not take more than a couple of minutes to set up, for example, a career tab on your Facebook page. And it should not be more than a couple of hours to get your entire organization up and running with a complete employee referral, extended referral system, managing, getting your consultants on board, etc. And the last one, should be easy to use from a mobile device or any other device. So let me get into some demos at this point to give you a sense of what I'm referring to. So here is an example. This is my Facebook page, and for a moment, imagine if I'm a candidate. I'll start from a candidate experience and go all the way back into the ATS itself. Now, here I'll share with you 3 examples of posts that I see on my Facebook. Now, here is an example of what perhaps is coming out from the Old ATS system. So I got this posting, looks interesting, I click on it, and it now hops me onto a page where it's asking me to log in. Now I have to go through another step here of logging in, sharing. Given the fact I'm already on Facebook, there's a lot of information about me that your ATS should be able to capture immediately. And so what you can see is at this point, I may not want to go spend my time there. This is an experience that you get through a MyParichay Social ATS. So I have a job here, I click on it, it basically brings me to a page where immediately it's, first of all, it's creating a connection right away. It's telling me I have mutual friends at Jetpacks on Facebook. As I keep scrolling down, it will show me, okay, I have some friends here who are on LinkedIn, and they are my first level friends on LinkedIn. So I have someone I can directly apply to who's my LinkedIn friend. I can apply to a mutual friend. If I do decide to, it will tell me I know Gaurav, and I can ask him for an introduction. Or in this case, if I want to apply through this friend, it will basically ask me to upload a resume. And let's say I upload a resume. And at this point, I don't have to log in. It's already taken my phone number. It's already taken my email, this experience, and if I hit continue, it is basically going to, my dossier is attached, and it will be sent on to, in this case, Nitin Bhatt's LinkedIn, and Nitin can see it and he can decide what he wants to do with it. So this is a very, very different kind of experience that you see. I can decide at this point I'm on Facebook, I don't need to apply, I can basically save it. It tells me it's saved. I can directly apply, I can share, or I can refer a friend if I want. And so that's what a social ATS should effectively do, because I'm being respectful to the candidate, because right now I'm on Facebook. I really don't want to go log in somewhere and have to retype my basic information and then attach a resume. And the connection that the previous experience versus this creates is very different. Here is an experience through Shine.com, which again, when I come in, I immediately jump in there, and at this point, it is asking me I can unlock, and as you can see again, it immediately tells me I have friends in this company that I can connect with, talk to them. I can apply to a friend. If I want, I can click on it, and it will basically bring up various friends I have. I have one friend, I have 44 friends of friends. I can decide to apply through them. I can, let's say if I'm not interested, there are prizes to win, I can decide to refer a friend. Now, I'm not sure if I have a friend that matches their criteria because I don't have a friend, which is fine. But again, if you look at your technology platform, needs to be able to deliver these kind of experiences. So that's an essential part of candidate experience. Now, let me share with you one of the pieces that MyParichay ATS delivers. When you post a job on through MyParichay, it automatically would post the job on free job boards. It would automatically, if you're subscribed to Shine, it will automatically post it on Shine. At the same time, it will go ahead and it allows you to, in less than 5 minutes, create what is called a career tab on your Facebook page. So when you set up the ATS, it will ask you, would you like to create a career tab on your Facebook page? And if you say yes, it will basically create a career tab, and all jobs that are posted automatically become available here. Now, this again gives you an immense capability of whenever a candidate is now coming here, they will go through a very similar experience. Now they are on Facebook, they can again share. But as you can see, irrespective of where the job is or where the candidate is getting to, they're getting a very consistent experience that makes you more connected to the company. It allows them to become a source of referrals. So, and one of the other things the technology should be able to do is, how do you reach candidates on Facebook? Because given the response rate from emails is as low, one of the capabilities the platform should have is every time you post a job, it should look through Facebook and find out your friends that perhaps can refer you to a job. So here is an example of a notification that MyParichay ATS will deliver. So I'm interested in jobs of a particular kind. It basically says I have friends who can actually refer me to this job. So it basically comes up, and these are the jobs. Tata Steel and says these are the 208 jobs. So I, as a candidate, now get this notification. These jobs are posted through the ATS. I come into this experience and I see various Tata Steel jobs that I can apply to. I can go ahead and specifically look at any of these jobs here and then decide to either again apply to a friend or again directly apply. So I think it's basically a social ATS should be able to deliver these kind of capabilities. So in a nutshell, I think if your ATS cannot create a Facebook career tab in less than 5 minutes, I think you're dealing with something that's obsolete. It should auto-post jobs on Facebook. It should, at least on free job boards like Indeed or MyParichay.in, it should be able to post jobs for free. Referral job boards like Shine, where you're not only getting the traditional web traffic, but every job you're posting there, you are getting the advantage of the referral network of the candidate that's looking at it. It should show candidates their friends from LinkedIn and Facebook who can refer them to your recruiters. And this is all about candidate experience and closer connection with the company. Allow candidates to apply without relogging. And this becomes extremely critical because people are accessing these job postings on Facebook wall, etc., through their mobile device. So the fact that you have to relog on a mobile device, I think you will start losing good candidates. The desperate candidates that probably nobody wants, I'm sure they'll probably take the time and effort to apply. And then allow candidates to save the job. Like I shared with you, while I am on Facebook, I am on my mobile device, I may or may not be at that moment ready to apply, but I should be able to save it. And then see your job and their connection on any device. I think a modern ATS should allow the job to be, the job posting and the interaction should be intelligent enough to figure out whether the person is on a desktop, on a smartphone, on an iPad, and should be able to configure the look and feel and the functionality. So again, it's not surprising that over the last 12 months, and we track the top 300 employers in India, and this is as of February of this year, this number has probably gone up. Not surprisingly, almost over half of them have an official Facebook page. And if you look at the number of them that have some kind of a career page or a job tab on it, that number is increased by 100%. And I think again it's important that your career tab that you have on your Facebook page is delivering an experience where the candidate stays in your Facebook environment versus there are companies that use traditional ATS and the job link on your Facebook page basically hops them out to a career site or some other place. So the second component of an effective modern hiring sourcing platform really is about referrals. It's centered around referrals. And not surprisingly, employee referral is popular, it's efficient, and the quality of hires is better. We all know that. But what should the modern technology, an ATS, a social ATS do to deal with the traditional challenges that HR faces? The first is automation. It should be, how do I set it up? What are the best practices? How do I roll it out? How do I collect profiles? How do we make sure that the communication between the employee, the candidate, the recruiter, the hiring manager happens to be across the technology platform they're on? They're not necessarily all on desktop anymore. And the quality. How do we ensure that when you're referring somebody, we are managing the quality? The second part is motivation. I think a huge amount of HR effort and even the marketing department's effort goes into how do we design a referral program, how do we motivate, how do we make sure, employees keep bringing their best friends and their most talented friends to work for the company. The ongoing program management, communication, engagement, award management, all those. So I think, again, high-quality social ATS should not only deal with those challenges, but deal with the challenges of the employee. What jobs are available? I'm using my handheld device, or I just want to know what jobs are available. I'm maybe at some social gathering. My friend approaches me and says, I'm looking for a job. I should be able to go in, directly search for that job from a mobile device, and be able to, if this person is a Facebook or a LinkedIn acquaintance, I should be able to directly refer them. And it should be as simple as that. Versus, okay, why don't you send me an email? Can I take your number? Can I do all that? It really is reducing the basic friction that exists. And the traditional ATS has kind of reduced the friction somewhat, mostly in how you process people. But it really does nothing to how do we find good quality candidates and how do we keep engaged with them. Who matches on my network? And then who did I refer? What happened to them? All these kind of things should be made simple by a good social ATS. And the last part is there is a lot of frustration in these long gratification cycles. It's one reason employees become disengaged. Because employees, you refer a friend, then they go through the interview process, let's say they get hired, then they have a notice period, and then normally a company would expect them to stay 60, 90, 100 days before you see a reward. So that's a very long cycle for you to be staying motivated. So again, the modern social ATSs like MyParichay, Jobvite, Work for Labs, some of them start providing you the ability to bring gamification into your product, so that we have companies where that are using the MyParichay platform. Every day an employee can come and see what has been, how many points have they earned because of some effort they made to refer a candidate. And these points are basically allocated based on how far your candidate moves down the recruitment funnel. And then they have creative ways that you can redeem those points for, and it just keeps excitement, and there is social recognition of people within the company who refer good candidates, etc. So let me get into from the candidate experience, and there is a lot to discuss in a short period of time. But I'm now going to move towards the recruiter side of the equation. And I'm just going to log out here for a second. So what you have here is the back end of a social ATS. And this is where an employee or a recruiter or a consultant who is on your network would come, and they would have basically login ID. And what I'm going to do is log in as an administrator of this ATS. And the reason behind it, I can show you probably the broader set of features. A consultant or your employer or recruiter may see subsections of this. And in this case, it has already, because I was logged into Facebook, it has already connected me and it knows who I am. And it does give me an option to disconnect if I want. So just to give you a sense, when you implement the social ATS, your administrator, whoever it is, will receive an email with a user ID and a password. And that pretty much gets this capability for this person to basically start setting up your company. So it's a 100% company, or we currently have about 2 or 3 major corporations in India, including one of the largest life insurance companies and multiple branches adopting this platform. So company setting, again, what makes it attractive for them is relatively simple. Add your company details. You can add a new division or business. You can add a new department. You can add a new branch. And you can take a company logo and upload it. That is basically simple steps to set up your company. And you can do it through an Excel spreadsheet if you have, or you can just transfer it. The second is you need to set up your recruitment funnel. And you can have different stages on your recruitment funnel. You can basically add a new status. You can edit the order of what stage comes before. And then finally, one of the capabilities the system provides, it allows you to assign score for each stage of the recruitment funnel. So you can give different scores for different stages of the recruitment funnel. And this score basically goes towards assigning those referral points that we were talking about to employees. So if the employee passes a certain amount in the recruitment funnel, they will get certain points. And it is displayed to them every day when they log in on their cell phone or the desktop. They will see what the referral point is. They can see who the referral leaders are for that day. And that's what setting up your recruitment candidate status, which is a recruitment funnel milestone, and then can assign points. The next stage is you may want to invite your employees, you may want to invite your consultant to become a part of the platform. And you can add a new user, and you can type in name, address, and the person could be an employee, could be a recruiter, could be an HR manager, or could be a consultant or a recruitment organization that is supplying you with resumes. So again, it's as simple as setting that up, and the chances are you are going to, as far as your employees are concerned, you may want to just import your employee list, and the moment you import your employee list, it will send out an automatic email to your employees basically announcing the new ATS. It will have a link there for them to go ahead and set up their user ID password, and then they can start referring out, receiving profiles back, etc. The next stage is user settings, and that's really for the admin or the individual employee, whoever has. The next part is what we call verified employees. So one of the things a good social ATS should recognize, because you are dealing with employees and you are dealing with their friends, etc., it should know who is actually a verified employee of the company. Because one of the capabilities a good social ATS provides, it allows you to set referral incentives for people who are not your employees. And so if you do want to track who's your employee and who's not your employee. And so this is a way that you manage your verified employees. And then finally, the ATS allows you to create internal ads on the intranet where you can basically deliver ads on different pages of your ATS as employees are logging in, depending on what you want to drive, what message, maybe there are certain kinds of positions that you want more people to think about. You have started new incentives, etc. You can basically upload ads and they'll be delivered. You can segment your employees and say, I want this ad to be only seen by people who are in finance and accounting department, or only seeing people who are branches of, in Chennai, Hyderabad, and Jaipur branches. So you can do those kind of things. So that's really a very simple way to set the ATS up. As I said, if you have most of the employee database, etc., this should not take more than half an hour to an hour. Now, getting back to, coming to what this ATS can do, managing jobs, again, it's like posting a job, etc. But what is, again, the interesting part is how do you manage the responses? So this is where you can search through your candidate database, etc. But more importantly, how do you go about managing responses that are coming to you from your consultant, from your Facebook page, from LinkedIn, from your website, from Shine, from employees referring? Ideally, they should all come to one place. So here is the position, the person who has posted it, how many positions. This is the internal referral amounts. And let's say you want to now look at the responses. You basically, as a recruiter, click on it. If you do decide you can export it, the candidates that have come and their resumes onto an Excel spreadsheet if that's what you want. And what you see here is, again, you can search candidates by who has referred, chapters, some of the basic fields, and these fields you can customize. You may want to add, job titles, etc. So there are other things that can be customized based on what you are looking for. Now, what you see here is it's basically telling you employee, so this is a source as an employee. A direct employee most likely has come from your Facebook page. And then again, if there was a consultant who has referred, it will say a consultant and which consultant. And it does have a built-in, again, these are some of the more mundane capabilities that most traditional ATSs have. Those are built into kind of social ATS. So it will do a deduplication check. And you can decide how you want to check for dedupe, either by phone number, by email, or both phone number and email. The good part is that more and more people apply to Facebook. An ATS like this actually knows the Facebook ID and can use that as a very effective way to check for duplicates. So as you can see, when you see this icon next to this, it basically tells you that you can actually not only look at, obviously, Chandrima's resume, but you can actually search the Facebook network of Chandrima. So, and I'll share with you, it tells you the person who has referred, how many points do they have. So if you can look at it, there is Mohammed perhaps she has been historically referring better candidates. And you can manage this point system by deciding where you want to send people for. So at this point in time, let's say, for example, another thing you can do is, you know what, I only want to see candidates that I can search their Facebook network for more. So let's say I want to search through Rahul's network. So I basically click on it. I don't know why it's getting me there. So it has, as you can see, there are about 1,200 people in Rahul's network at this point. So I can go ahead, and this was a finance job. I want to maybe find out more people in finance and see how many friends he has in finance that I can probably contact. So I can search for that. And out of the 1,200 people, he has 5 folks that have background in accounts, finance, again in finance. And let's say you can basically go ahead and send them a message, for example. And it will basically send them a Facebook message. You can attach the job ID, and they would basically, what will happen in this case, if you send this to Megha's globe will light up on her mobile device on the Facebook and her desktop, and she can basically go through the same experience that I shared with you early in the demo. So I have 5 more finance contacts I can generate out of those. I can probably connect with the candidate in a much more effective way. And it probably becomes an interesting thing rather than asking Rahul, give me some more finance guys. At this point, as a recruiter, I already have 5 more people. What's even more interesting is, you know what, I just realized that I can even search Deepti's network for some more people. She works at TCS, so I want to check, are there more finance people in her network? And I again can go in and say, finance, and I want to see if she has more finance. Out of her 1,200, again, friends, there are 2 actually, one of them really, who is again in accounting and finance. So it really becomes a very, very powerful way where every candidate that's coming through a social ATS like this, you're not just tapping into, obviously you're looking at the resume, you are tapping into their network, and you're able to now contact those 7-8 additional people that you got. And in fact, there is a feature here that's not turned on this. I can basically say, show me all candidates who have the network, and then search across all candidates. And you could end up with another maybe 50, 60, 70 candidates with finance and accounting background that you can reach out on Facebook rather than trying to send them an email that goes into the email spam. Now, what about and there's the basic stuff which I'm not showing you, the basic ATS related stuff. I can, update the status of the candidate. I can go ahead and look at the status history of the candidate. I may just want to edit the status of the candidate, where it means I can say, okay, what's the status of the candidate? He's passed some recruitment stage. I can add the comment. I can update the status, and that will be available for me to look at. Or if I do decide, sometimes a candidate you may want to move it to another job for another recruiter to look at. And the good part of the social ATS like this is it will keep track of who referred this person. And so they will get credit for it when they do that. So let's say, there are candidates that you saw that because they either came through some other mechanism, we don't have access to their network. And as a recruiter, for example, I like, let's say, a candidate that has been accepted. I've scheduled a walk-in for A. Rajesh. And I would like to actually invite him so that I want to tap into A. Rajesh's network. So as a recruiter, I can basically say invite. It automatically pulls up a subject line. These subject lines are customizable. We have a series of templates we can create. So it basically will send an email to A. Rajesh saying, I'd like you to join. And hopefully, at this point, the recruiter has spoken to this gentleman. And so there is some level of connection that we call, and you can then hopefully when they join, you'll be able to find more folks. The other thing is, for example, you may want to, let's say, look through, as I said, I would like to know a little bit more about, in this case, Rishabh. And one way to do that is I'd like to see maybe what does his Facebook profile looks like. For some reason, I'm not sure. So let's say I want to visit Rahul's Facebook profile. At this point, I am on Rahul's Facebook profile. I get a little bit more sense of who is he, and it may allow me to create a much better connection when I pick up the phone and call Rahul. So looks like he went to London or he studied in London. There is a lot more that I can find about Rahul, and especially for him to build a connection as a recruiter with a candidate. So that again in a nutshell, and I've just at the top level gone through a lot of the features of what I believe Social ATS, that most of them have a traditional basic workflow stuff. On top of that, you can see how powerful these technologies are. And then there's a bunch of reports that you can create. You can look at it and print them for your own needs that you may have. So effectively, again, if your ATS, if you need to buy servers and call IT departments, etc., to maintain the software, and you have multiple servers that are down, etc., that's not the right ATS. It's clearly obsolete. If you cannot set it up very rapidly, I don't think you have the right ATS, because it's probably using a technology that is something that's obsolete. Refer from any device. Referrals are actually the way where you will find good people. And it should be from any device. It should allow alumni candidates to refer, track, and compensate. So one of the things that you saw, as an employee can earn points, Shine has a program where any candidate who refers a candidate for your jobs, they can earn points. And you don't really have to worry about compensating them. They can earn points that they can redeem through various programs that Shine runs or MyParichay runs. Allows you to search Facebook profiles. I think that's very, very critical. One of the things that I didn't share with you, today on MyParichay, there are about 22 million Facebook profiles from India. You can go in and search those profiles, job titles, which universities they went to. You can search by basic skills, etc. And then again, you can contact them on Facebook. Allows you to search the network of the candidate, has gamification, and has the ability to target employees for internal ads. So at this point of time, I think we have run out of time. Is that correct, Guru? Or I think we have about 10 minutes left.
That's right, Ranjan. We are running short on time. In fact,
Welcome to the live anytime meeting. Thank you. You are being placed into conference in muted mode.
specifically pick up one or two questions since we're running short on time. So here is another interesting question. So can MyParichay solution? Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
So can MyParichay solutions be used independent of Shine, or they have to be integrated with Shine solutions?
MyParichay solution can be implemented independently, or it can be implemented in conjunction with Shine. HT Media and Shine are the exclusive distributors of MyParichay products in India. So the selling, distribution, and servicing of the product is done by HT Media.
Good. I think I'll leave it at this question.
They would be able to, I think they would be, the salesperson and the account person would be in the best position to recommend what is an optimal solution. Whether it is, and then Shine and MyParichay technologies are pretty tightly integrated. So what the Shine HT Media team would do is recommend the best solution, whether it's integrated or separate based on the needs.
Great, Ranjan. I think we're about 5 minutes off the time limit. So let me kind of make sure that I'll send you some of these questions. Maybe if I can answer, I'll send them out. But we will reply back to all of the questions that we have here and via email to you folks. Thanks, everyone. Ranjan, I think this was a very informative. Sure.
Just one more thing, Guru. Anybody who's interested in getting the ATS comparison and some more detailed feature set that they should be looking on, like a worksheet, if they can send you an email, we will make sure that we will follow up.
Correct. You can write to me, guru@myparichay.in, and I'll be happy to share a copy of that document with you.